Wonderhussy here. I'm back out exploring the desert again. I'm in a very remote section of a very remote desert south of Death Valley, just outside the town of Tecopa. I remember, gosh, 3 or 4 years ago, before I really started off-roading myself, I went on a day trip with this guy who randomly emailed me and invited me to go see some abandoned cabins and stuff out in the desert. So I rode with him in his truck, and we went to a couple cabins, and we also went to this little spring that, in my memory, he told me, at least he was under the impression that it was the original source spring for all the Tecopa hot springs. In fact, I think he said he ran into 2 hydrologists that were up there studying the springs as part of some university program, and they told him that it was the original source for Tecopa, and it had like one of the highest mineral contents of any hot spring they ever explored. Anyway, all this happened like, gosh, it was 3 or 4 years ago, and ever since then, I've been wanting to go back and make a video, because it's before I had a channel, but I couldn't remember where the spring was. I mean, I knew it was somewhere near the town of Tecopa, but I searched all over Google Maps, and I couldn't find any springs that matched what I remembered seeing. You know, I remembered there being a oasis with a bunch of palm trees and a little spring and some abandoned buildings and some abandoned cars. Gosh, though, I spent hours looking on Google Maps, Google Earth, and I could not find that spring. Well, as luck would have it, I was in the little town of Shoshone last week at the little museum there, and the guy who works there, John, shout out to John if you're watching this, gave me the information I needed. Apparently the place I'm looking for, or was looking for, is called Chappo Spring. And as to whether or not it's the source of all the Tecopa springs, that's up for debate. But the good news is, we found the spring. Now that was a gnarly, rough road getting out here. I mean, at times it was really soft and I felt like I was going to get stuck. At times it was really rocky. I had to worry about my tires. And at times it was really hard to even find the road. It is technically an off-roading trail. There's off-road trail markers along the way at pretty great intervals, so you really have to kind of scan the landscape. Thankfully, Larry, my friend Larry, was riding with me, and he helped me spot the trail markers as we went ahead. So we basically had to cruise. If you've ever been to the Tecopa hot spring, the natural mud pond, which I have also made a video about, when you're soaking in that spring and you look straight up at the mountains behind the spring, you can actually see this outcropping of green, especially if you use binoculars. So we're basically, I think, due east of the Tecopa hot spring, way up in the hills at what looks to have been some kind of little encampment back in the day. Now, I don't know any history about Chappo Springs. I wasn't even able to find much information about it online at all. So this is going to be strictly conjecture, okay? We're going to try to figure this out together as we go along. But anyways, after that long and bumpy ride, we found some nice hard-packed ground to park on. I should have plenty of area to turn around and get out of here again, hopefully. Don't want to end up another Death Valley Germans out here, if you know what I mean. But we made it to the site, and now is the fun part. We have to explore it and see what we can see. Okay, so obviously the main encampment is going to be around the trees, which are clustered around the spring that kind of flows down this canyon or wash. So we're going to go poke around back there. It looks like there's a couple buildings, and, well, we'll try to find the actual spring itself. But as we approach the site, there's also a bunch of old cars that I just had a feeling you guys might want to see. So the first one we pass is this old truck. I mean, you would definitely want a truck if you lived up here. Let's check her out. What'd she have on her? What's that? The clock, I guess? Wow, isn't that interesting? And then look how the key is right in the middle. That's interesting. Is that like, I guess that was the ignition key, right in the very middle of the dashboard. Funny. You guys know what kind of truck this was? Let's see the front. Oh, front's missing. Whoopsie. Anyway, I bet there's somebody watching who can tell me what kind of truck that was, just based off of what we just looked at. Meanwhile, its neighbor here, well, I thought it was a Cadillac. Larry said it might be an Impala. Let's check her out. Look at the bones on this beaut. Looks like the Batmobile. Sorry about the sun. It's like 11 o'clock in the morning, so it's kind of harsh lighting. But hey, it took a while to get up that quote-unquote road. Wow, look at the fins and the chrome. Chrome's still shiny all these years later. This thing has been rusting and baking in the desert sun. Golly, who knows how many years. But the chrome's still shiny. Okay, let's go around. Oh, look, you can see there. It's a Fury. Isn't that a Plymouth Fury? Huh, what do I know? Anybody who guessed Fury, you win. Okay, well, so that was the 2 cars out front. There's 1 more car peeking through the bushes up there. Oh, 2 more. Let's go check those out. Okay, up here we have what looks to me to be Cadillac, Chevy. All I know is it has those really cool fins, and it was a beautiful color. Unfortunately, it's all shot full of bullet holes now. You know how people are. Wow, look inside here. This is kind of cool. The upholstery is still on the seat in places. You don't really see that very often out here in the desert. Usually gets baked away pretty quick, but this leatherette, I mean, it's stiff, but you know, a little neat's foot oil, be back in business in no time. What a shame. I mean, look how cool the handle. Oh, wow. Anyway, you guys know what car this was? Front's missing, so that won't be much help. All right, we got 1 more old car to investigate before we go in and poke around the spring, and that's this, looks like a station wagon down here. Let's go check this out. Okay, this thing is a beaut. How you could haul some kids around to the grocery store in this. This looks like the kind of a station wagon you would go on the Great American Road Trip in when you were a kid. Your parents would drag you to all kinds of places that you didn't really want to go. Like when I did that Smoky Bear National or Historic Park video. Those kinds of places. Here's the front. And this side. Man, look at the lines on this thing. What was it? Anybody know? We got several mystery cars at this location, so comment below, let me know what they were. Okay, now let's try to penetrate this dense thicket and find the spring. That was probably the reason all these people were living up here in the first place. I mean, we are out in Death Valley, you know, water sources are few and far between. So to have a source like this, whew, you would want to stay pretty close. Oh, wow, look how green it is. And oh, wow, look. I actually remember this from my first visit, this little boardwalk plank. There's standing water here, dude. And it's October right now. So we're coming off of the end of the summer. It's, you know, hot and dry. But there's still plenty of standing water here. Cool, life-giving water. Be real careful. Hike along here without getting wet. Wow, who thought I would have had to make a water crossing in Death Valley? Whew, yikers. Okay, so we crossed that little stream, and that brought us up onto the other side of the ravine where these buildings are. So I guess we'll check these out next. It looks like there's some kind of outbuilding there. Looks like a busted out old trailer there. And then a big house there in the distance. Okay, if you hear any weird noises, that's because Larry's here with me. He's back off there somewhere poking around. But as far as I know, he's the only one here. No meth heads, no serial killers. Just some old ruins. So this looks like it was the main house. It's like there's a refrigerator laying out front that is shockingly relatively free of bullet holes. Oh, look here. What on God's green earth? There's a pencil attached to a string. Like maybe there used to be a trail register here or something to sign your name that you visited the site. And then here, it's a brand new toothbrush still in the wrapper. Oh, look what else is in here. There's a lighter and a bunch of little twigs. What the hey? That's kind of weird. There's like all kind of junk laying on the ground out here. Old chairs, bed springs, cinder blocks. Let's see what we can see inside this cabin. Wow, it was a big cabin back in the day. One big main room here and then a room off there to the left. So first let's poke around this room that we just stepped into. This was obviously like the living room. Look. Minute Gourmet microwave meals. So they had a microwave. They had shag carpet. Oh, this was clearly the kitchen because you can see those cabinets there. And that paper towel dispenser. Interesting. Wow, look, isn't that like some kind of weird wasp nest or something? Yikers. Nothing in here except for a wine cooler bottle. Ugh. See this side. Anything in here? No. What about up here? Nope. Okay, kitchen's bare. Oh, look how cute there are. These little hooks left here, like where they used to hang their keys or maybe their cooking utensils. Little things like that remind you that people actually lived here, you know? All right, let's see what else we have. Well, we got some graffiti. Somebody was here as of 2015. Somebody here, 1994. Wow, that's old. Oh, look, speaking of old magazine, what's this? Looks like maybe an old National Geographic. Okay, this back here must have been the bedroom, which we can tell because of this creepy box spring. Back into the main room, and this time let's go to the left here. This looks like it was some kind of work area, screened-in patio. All right, well, that's all there was to this first big building. Now we'll go back down towards that busted trailer and check that out. But off to the right, down by where the spring is. Now we crossed the creek like over there, but down here it looks like there's some little outbuildings in the water. So let's go check those out. Down here, it looks like, well, it looks like they were maybe raising some kind of animals down here. Maybe this was like a rabbit hutch or a chicken coop or something. This looks like it was some kind of greenhouse building, all the pots. Okay, so clearly there was some kind of animal husbandry or vegetable gardening, farming going on over here. Which makes sense. They probably wanted to take advantage of the water. There's some kind of infrastructure underneath that dead palm tree. See what I mean? There's like a roof on it even, a little metal roof on it. I'm not really going to bushwhack down into that. Although I do have a machete with me. Thanks to my fan Blake for sending me that awesome machete. This would be the place to use it, but I just feel like it's really not worth all the effort at this time. Okay, so that was like the farm area, for lack of a better term. Now we're going to check out this. Looks like somebody was living up here in a trailer and had a little accident. Maybe he was grilling up meth burgers and things blew up in his face. Who can say? But this thing, yeah, was no point in even trying to go inside it. It's so destroyed. Peek in the window. Just more wine coolers. Oh, and looks like there was a really nice pink shag carpet in there. Look at that. The part that's in the shade still has some of its color. Fancy. Maybe a lady lived in here. Okay, so there's the trail we came through. Cut across that water. There's one more building we haven't checked out here. And this has chicken wire on the window, so it looks to me like maybe this was a chicken coop. I mean, this would be a pretty nice place to live if you had a reliable water source. You can grow some veggies, raise some chickens, raise some rabbits. That'd be good eating, right? Actually, I've had rabbit. I didn't care for it. It was kind of gamey. Yeah, this looks like it was some kind of chicken coop or something in there. And then look just right next to it. This looks like it was part of the chicken coop or a rabbit hutch or something to do with animals for sure. Okay, well, I think that's just about it for the cars and buildings. Climb up the hill a little bit and give you guys an overview of what we just looked at. That's the old Homestead site. And way down in the valley beyond it is, well, Shoshone over to the right and Tecopa to the left. So you can see the vegetation just kind of continues all the way up along this ravine. There's some more green palm trees up there, so there's probably some more standing water. Go check that out. But look at this friggin' backdrop. You can see, if you really look, you can see Larry walking along there. It's like, where's Waldo? All right, let's go up here and see if we can find any more springs. Okay, we're up close to this thicket, but it's so choked with dead bushes, I don't think I'm going to be able to get in there. And I'm not really honestly sure it's worth even hacking through. You see anything up there, Larry? Oh, Larry said he saw a chair. All right, I guess we better hike up there and see what he's talking about. Okay, so Larry said he can't really see much from up there, so I'm going to hike down along below this rock face as far as I can without killing myself. There's probably all kind of snakes down here, too. Snakes need water. Oh, it's noticeably cooler down here. I guess just the shade. And there is a chair. Huh. Wow, wouldn't it be cool if we discovered a secret hot spring that nobody knew about? I always wanted to do that. Like somebody sat here at one time. And there's actually a fairly well-trodden path down to it with footprints. So someone, oh wow, look, there is a spring. Oh my God, it's pretty nasty though. And it smells sulfurous. I can smell sulfur. Oh, I wonder if it's a warm spring. I want to go at least poke my finger in now. Let's go this way. Oh gosh, man, I'm real close to it and I can almost stick my hand in it, but there's a bunch of yellow jackets or bees down there and I don't want to get stung. Larry, there's bees down there. What do you think?
How many?
5, 6, 7, like a swarm, I'd say.
That's not bad.
No? Okay. Yikes. Okay, I'm climbing down. I can just see the headlines now. YouTuber dies from swarm of African killer bees at remote desert oasis. But we're down by the water. Anything for you guys. I feel like this might be a good time to mention the fact that I have a Patreon account and you can donate to support my forthcoming medical bills if you like. Okay, before I anger these bees, I'm just going to poke my finger in the water and get out. Man, it's cool. It's not warm at all, but it's not ice cold. But I wouldn't even call it a warm spring. It's just cool. Whew, got out of there just in time. I did not want to rile up those bees. Okay, so we do know that there was a substantial amount of standing water here. As to whether or not there was ever a hot spring, well, I don't know about that. And that story about the two hydrologists up here studying the mineral content, well, I'm not sure about that. The guy who took me out here, his name's Eric. Eric, if you're watching this, let me know. I'm curious. Also, I'm curious, how do I get that job to go around studying hot springs? Because, if there was one line of work that I was born for, it's that. Okay, well, that's pretty much all there is to this lonely little desert homestead at Chappo Springs. I mean, my assumption is that it was some kind of mine. Although I don't see any evidence of mining activity on the hill above, so gosh, who knows? Maybe they were just prospecting or rock collecting or hiding out from the law. Who can say? But it's interesting that this Plymouth Fury and that station wagon, I mean, at one time the road must have been in a lot better condition because I really don't see that thing driving up the road I came in on. But next time you're down yonder, soaking in the Tecopa hot spring, looking up at the mountains, and you see a little pop of green trees just below that peak there, now you know what you're looking at. Chappo Springs. Come for the hot springs, stay for the bees. All right, we didn't get very far from Chappo Spring back there. We had to make a pit stop because I found a mylar balloon. No telling how old this thing is. It looks like some dude bought it for his girlfriend for Valentine's Day 1985. And unfortunately, mylar just doesn't decompose ever. So a lot of times, even when you're in like a super remote part of the desert like this, you'll find a ton of mylar balloons snagged in the bushes. Like right up here. Larry's over here at Mylar Central. Look at this. This thicket of mesquite is just full of mylar that's gotten trapped. I read a really interesting article about something to do with the air currents and the way the wind blows. A lot of mylar balloons fly out of the Los Angeles area and get trapped in Death Valley. And in fact, Death Valley National Park even asks you to geotag. You know, pick them up and throw them away, but try to note the location of where they were because they're doing some study on it. Anyways, the long and the short of it is, next time you want to get balloons for somebody, well, reconsider. Buy them flowers or a teddy bear or anything but these friggin' mylar balloons. And latex balloons really aren't that much better. They don't degrade very quickly either. But if you absolutely have to buy balloons for somebody, I guess latex balloons are preferable to mylar. Look at that. Larry says there's 7 balloons here. They're all heart-shaped and they say love. So it's like somebody just let a whole bouquet go. You know, unfortunately, I was at Sutter's Fort in Sacramento this past fall. And there was a family releasing a bunch of balloons into the sky in memory of their grandma. And I kind of wanted to go, hey guys, I appreciate that you're trying to remember your grandma, but can you do it a different way? But I didn't want to be a jerk. Anyway, Larry, thank you for your service. Larry got every last mylar balloon out of there. Hooray! Leave it better than you found it.